send an other song.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 598. It's Thursday, November 14th, 2013, 10 p.m. Pacific Time. Internet talk radio for your imagination. Mike Matthews broadcasting from the last place on Earth, located somewhere in Castro-Valley, California. Today, Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, the Brewmaster, plus the segment FABAGOO Things to Do, where we hear about cool things going on this weekend. From FABAGOO.com founder Steve Hansen.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And then today I got to go over for the first time a special new bridge that has suspension.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
That would be the new edition of the Bay Bridge. That is what links Oakland to Yerba Buena Island. And it was really cool. And I have to say that I am not a Highlander fan. I don't know what I'm singing about right now. Oh yeah, it was cool to go over that bridge. And how? Because you go over and it's like the cool lights at night. Oh, such a trill.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
A trill is something that you say when you don't use the letter H in your words, for sure.
Mike's
I want to say something right
Daily
now. That this was so much fun going
Podcast
to San Francisco. Over the brand new bridge. This is the way you get there. Going from Oakland to San Francisco. So much fun. And I want to tell you right now, thank you for listening to tonight's show. What? You're not listening to this at night? Whatever. I'm recording it at night, like I said, at 10 p.m. Pacific time. My reason for going into San Francisco was I was accompanying my friend Robert Welsh of Welsh on the World, Robert Owen Welsh. And we were going there because he wants to buy a weighted keys keyboard. It's basically a small electronic piano. It sounds like a piano, but it is not even the size of a piano. It's all electronic, digital, that kind of thing. And he found one on Craigslist. So he and I go over there. And, well, driving with Robert Welsh is sort of an adventure. You have to have, let's say, a lot of courage and bravery, and you have to just attack life with, grab it by the horns and just take it. Because that's what happens when you travel with Robert Owen Welsh. Into San Francisco, and we were going to some place on Geary, and Geary passes by Union Square, and by the look of the directions he gave me, because he doesn't have a GPS, so he has to print out all the directions. Do you got friends like that? Aren't they interesting? Especially when they're younger than you. They're still printing out directions. Don't have a GPS. Sorry. Believe me, I was there. But it's just so ironic because I would think I'd be the one that needs to print out directions from MapQuest. But my younger, more computer-savvy friend is doing it rather instead. So we are driving up. The directions are weird because they're telling me, okay, you got 0.5 miles left to go on this street. And no, it didn't need 0.5 miles. It was done in a couple of feet. So I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So we are on Geary Street, and we need to go to a house on Geary, but we are somewhere around Union Square. And he says, let's just park right here at Union Square. So you can park underneath Union Square in that big, deep underground parking lot they have. So we park there, and then we proceed to walk, I believe, 6 blocks to get there to the place. And it was this tiny place in this old converted hotel that looked like it was right out of the 1920s, out of some scary old movie, haunted hotel-looking thing. And we look at the keyboard, and she wants way too much, and we end up not getting it. But then we continue walking, end up in Japantown. That was interesting. We had a great dinner there. I had some ramen. So delicious. And then we walked all the way back, which was, it got to have been 2 miles at least. And I was wearing really crappy Converse shoes that were not comfortable. But I would like to tell you the one interesting thing the girl said, who was trying to sell us the keyboard. She's probably also in her 30s. She said something that struck me, and that is, living in San Francisco like she does, first off, her room was the size of a really small hotel room, smaller than a hotel room. It was tiny. It was a closet. Her bed barely fit in this thing. No kitchen. And she said, yeah, I have to eat out all the time. And eating out in San Francisco is expensive. And if you want to eat something that's healthy for you, and if you don't have a kitchen, you're gonna pay money. If it's going to be good, it's going to be expensive. And if you're going to eat something cheap, of course, it's going to be unhealthy for you. So she said, I put on so much weight here, I can't wait to move to the East Bay, which is what she was doing. At any rate, someone else is walking into the last place on earth.
Hi, Mark. It's Benita, the rodeo queen. How y'all doing?
And it's a disgruntled fiddle player. Tell you what.
What?
Sorry, I had a little indigestion.
Indigestion?
Whatever. Hey, I loved that little story you were telling about going to Japantown and dealing with crack addicts.
I don't think this girl was a crack addict, but she was definitely trying to sell her keyboard. She said it was not, well, it was in the way now because there was no room in that small room she was in.
Mike, I used to live in a tiny little room when I was getting out of college.
You went to college?
Yeah, it was a fun time. I learned a lot about agriculture.
You know a lot about agriculture and about fiddle playing.
Yeah, because the two things go hand in hand. Dealing with the land.
You were doing what?
I was working the land, toting that barge, lifting that bale.
Are you sure?
Mike, I was working with my hands, and it's really hard work to do. But I love agriculture.
Mark, I think he's a great farmer. You should see when he farms.
He still farms?
Yeah, we got some land at our house. That's where I let Nelia the horse run around. Of course, she eats all the crops that the disgruntled fiddle player makes.
Uh-huh. You have a wonderful relationship, you two.
Thanks, Mike.
Look who else just walked in.
Oh, damn, Mike, I make the root beer. I'm the brewmaster. Oh, boy.
Brewmaster, what kind of root beer is this that you have today?
Mike, this root beer is really good. It's called my Japantown root beer. Try some.
Oh, my. What's that taste I taste in there?
Soy sauce.
Doesn't quite go in root beer, I have to say.
Why not?
It just is that I have to say it for legal reasons. Because this podcast is watched very closely by the people of the Food and Drug Administration.
Oh, really? Hi, guys. You can't catch me.
And there he goes. Well, this is interesting. Since today's show has to do with travel and cool things to see and do, let's say you're going to be going to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania sometime soon. It took 150 years, but today it was announced a Pennsylvania newspaper says it should have recognized the greatness of President Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address at the time it was delivered. Yes, the Patriot News of Harrisburg, about 35 miles northeast of Gettysburg, retracted a dismissive editorial penned by its Civil War-era predecessor, the Harrisburg Patriot and Union. President Abraham Lincoln's speech is now considered a triumph of American oratory. The retraction, which echoes Lincoln's now familiar language, said the newspaper, November 1863, was wrong in its coverage when it described the speech as silly remarks that deserved a veil of oblivion. Wow. Some people actually said that about the Gettysburg Address. Amazing. The paper now says it regrets the error of not seeing its momentous importance, timeless eloquence, and lasting significance. Of course, you see the lasting significance and the timeless eloquence here 150 years later. The people that should be yelled at are the idiots that wrote the horrible critique of the speech 150 years ago, but they did now. Sorry, too soon? By today's words alone, we cannot exalt, we cannot hallow, we cannot venerate this sacred text. For a grateful nation long ago came to view those words with reverence, without guidance from the chagrined member of the mainstream media, the paper continued. Separately, the paper also recounted how it covered the dedication of the National Cemetery nearly 5 months after the pivotal battle in which federal forces repelled a Confederate Army advance from Virginia into Pennsylvania. More than 3,500 Union soldiers were killed in the battle, and they are buried there. During the Civil War, the Patriot and Union was a Democratic newspaper that was staunchly opposed to Lincoln. An event to remember the 150th anniversary of the speech is scheduled for next Tuesday in Gettysburg, if you want to get to that, according to the WashingtonPost.com.
Yeah, you see, Mark, Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. That's why he cool, and all Republicans are cool. Tell you what.
What?
That's why I'm a Tea Partier.
Okay, well, but some of your views do not echo the same as the time of Abraham Lincoln. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm wondering where I can find a Confederate flag so I can smack you upside the head with it.
Okay, see, and he was with the Union side. Never mind.
Mark, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player is deep and incomprehensible. But I love him. That's why I'm married to him.
I think that should be incomprehensible, but who am I to judge? So what do you think about that retraction? Was that just completely frivolous or just really funny? Just completely, just history, right? How things change. But it does bring to light and bring to focus some of the interesting things that happened 150 years ago. Anyway, you can email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. Also, email me there if you'd like to be a guest on the show or if you'd like to sponsor the show, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com, and we read your comments on the section emails from email. Check out the website, mikesdailypodcast.com. Tell your friends about it. You can go there and find the links to where to find us on iTunes and subscribe to us there. Also, you can like the show and then share it on Facebook with our Facebook page, facebook.com/Mike's Daily Podcast. Also, Yelp about this show. We got a link for where to do that and a link to where to find us on Twitter, Spreaker, SoundCloud, and we have a YouTube channel as well. All there at mikesdailypodcast.com. Oh, and the Amazon deal of the day. Click on that, buy something, and you'll help out the show. There's also the blog and the daily podcast picture at mikesdailypodcast.com.
FABAGOO Things to Do. Things to Do.
Steve Hansen.
Hi, Steve. It's Mike Matthews.
Oh, Mike Matthews. Good Wednesday evening to you, sir.
Good evening and Wednesday, and actually we'll play this probably back on Thursday, so whatever. It's
Thursday, wonderful.
So, yeah, I just got done shopping at Costco, and I got one of those, kind of, what do they call them? Those potatoes, but it's like a medley of different potatoes, like the purple ones and the regular ones, and they're all kind of smaller. And I got.
Are these the fresh whole potatoes?
They're like they're smaller potatoes. I want to say almost like fingerling potatoes, but it's like it's a mix of all kinds of different ones in this bag.
Purple ones?
There's purple ones and white ones, awesome, and brown ones. And I get home and I smell something funny. And at the bottom of the bag, like in the part that you couldn't see, there were 2 ultra rotten potatoes, like just oozing and stinking horrible. I'm like, what? Did something die in here? And oh my gosh. So,
which Costco do you go to?
The one over in San Leandro.
San Leandro. Oh, yeah, over by Davis.
Yes.
Yeah, my wife went to Costco today out in San Ramon. She did a Costco run and brought some goodies home.
I almost went to the San Ramon. I would have run into your wife, though I've never met her.
Is that right? Yeah. I love Costco.
There's some people go, oh, I don't want to buy all that stuff. It's all going to go to waste. And I hardly ever waste anything except for those 2 rotten potatoes, but.
Yeah, once in a while you run into that, but it's worth it, right? They got, you buy stuff, you separate it, you wrap it, you freeze it.
Exactly.
Store it, I got the, do you have the American Express Costco card?
No, I don't.
That's a wonderful thing because every time you use it, I don't fly, so I'm not like a flyer and go on lots of vacations. So I get Costco credit. So I get a check every year, And it usually is I have one for my company and one for me personally, so I get 2 different rebates, and it comes in a check to Costco. Usually one's for about $300 and one's for maybe $1,000. And you can go in there, and you can either get your money or you can use it toward buying Costco stuff. I love it.
Oh my gosh! I know this turned into a commercial for Costco, but I think I might do that because you spend so much darn money. And I use the American Express card because they don't take any other card, right? They're just American Express. I think they take cash.
That's it. They want that American Express, and you know, you go into Costco and you get those credits, right? You get, you know, like you get a rebate from gas, you get a rebate, you know, from Safeway. It all adds up 1%, 2%, 3%, but it adds up at the end of the year. And then you go in there and it's like getting free stuff. I always feel like if I can go in there and I can buy, you know, some tri-tip and, you know, some muffins, and you walk away with $400, and it's like, wow, that was a free one. That was on Costco American Express. Thank you very much.
What? How much does it cost? Like, what's the annual fee?
You know, it's way worth it because you get I get a rebate also just from the membership. So that's a separate little rebate thing that you get going on there, and that, you know, you got, if I'm not mistaken, it was like $50 or something like that. That's for the Costco membership, but the Costco card doesn't cost you anything.
Really?
Yeah, that's just a credit card, right? And as long as you pay it off within the month, you got no interest fees. I don't pay like a yearly service fee for that credit card, but I use the heck out of it. And anything that I would have normally paid cash for, I just put it on the American Express, and then I pay it off at the end of the month and rack up those points.
See, this sounds way better than the American Express SPG card, the SPG preferred card, which is what I have, which is every time you use the American Express card, you get points for staying at hotels. But I never go anywhere because I got a dog, and I can't find anyone to watch him when I leave, so I can't even use these hotel points anyway. I'm totally going to cancel that and get this.
Do that. Then you can get Basil some treats from Costco, right? You get the dog for one of them big old beds, you know, one of them big old fluffy bed things.
See, he's got a bunch of those.
All over the place.
All over the house.
I got to get a couple more for my dogs because when they go to bed at night, I got to drag one into my bedroom and put it next to my bed, and then I got to bring it out in the morning and stick it under my desk.
Yeah, see, I used to have that problem, and then I just I'm like, these beds are so cheap, I'm just going to get a bunch of them and put them all over the house.
So we have like a dozen of them?
Yeah, and if people come over and, you know, they can no, I don't have a dozen, but I've got like one in all the major rooms. There's one. So
that's perfect. I like the way you think. And then if you mix your margaritas too strong, you always got a place to lay down on, huh?
There's an extra bed. But yeah, like he doesn't sleep in bed with me. He sleeps on his bed in the bedroom. So there's one in there. There's one in the living room, and then he's got one outside in his crate because his crate is his doghouse basically. I don't lock him in there. The door is open, but when I leave, I put him outside, and he'll go and he'll lay down on the bed in his crate, and he's
nice. And
everywhere he goes. So he's a spoiled dog, really spoiled.
Nice.
But it teaches them. You can instantly say to him, lay down, and he knows, okay, I'm going to go on my bed and lay down. And
you got choices which room he goes to.
And then he falls asleep in 5 seconds. So he's like, he's trained.
Perfect. I wish I could fall asleep in 5 seconds. That sounds great.
Sometimes, Steve, you've got to lay down rules. And it's like that Gary Larson cartoon when he used to do Far Side, and there's a guy with a pail of paint and a paintbrush, and all around him, like, there's a mailbox, and he painted on it mailbox, and there's a tree, and he paints on it tree, and there's a car, and he paints on it the word car, and then, you know, and he does this all over the place, and he goes, and the caption says, I think this should clear some stuff up. This should clear it up. I always thought that was funny. I don't know. I like this stuff. So see, that way you put beds everywhere. It clears it up for the dog. He knows, I lay down here.
Yeah, it's easy. There's no decision-making processing going on. It just do it.
My dog is a brainless animal. No, dogs are pretty smart. They got a lot of... He seems to... they remember stuff that you tell them.
They know. They let on. They know more than they let on, I think.
Yeah. Especially when there's a treat involved, he'll remember things. All right, so far we've covered dogs, Costco. Any idea what their return policy is for spoiled potatoes?
I think, you know what? I found Costco to be super, super easy with returns.
Really?
Super easy. I mean, there's always a line right there, but you go in there, and I've taken a couple things back, and the guy's like, well, if you don't like it, bring it back.
Yeah. Okay.
That's great. You got to love that. I don't know how these companies can be, tough on returns, right? Because it just turns you into an unhappy customer.
True.
So I think you could probably take your 2 potatoes back, or you just throw them away and, write it off to potatoes gone bad.
That's true.
Or plant them. Maybe they're rotted, though, huh?
They're rotted. Can you plant potato? They don't actually have the seeds inside the potatoes, do they?
Yeah, so check this out. I had some red potatoes here this past summer, that were in my cabinet. They started doing a little sprout thing, and I took them and I cut them into quarters, and I have a little raised garden box here, and I buried them into the ground 2 or 3 inches, started watering them. A couple days, they sprouted, and I tell you what, it was the coolest dang thing. 3 months later, about a month ago, I was out there and I was picking some beans, and I knew these things had grown all over, right? And they grew up like a plant out of the ground, and they were starting to fall over because they were getting so big, and I pulled out a batch of these greens that were potato growth, and out came a big handful of red new potatoes out of the ground. And I was so excited to see potatoes coming out of the ground. I took them, I cleaned them, we boiled them, we had them with some fish or something right out of the garden. Amazing.
You are Farmer Steve.
Oh, it was great. It was great. When you grow it yourself, right, and it's from your own hands, it was awesome. Potatoes. Yeah.
Oh.
Try planting them up, absolutely.
Excellent suggestion. Wow. See, I've never taken it that far before. That's brilliant.
Absolutely.
You are Mr. Know It. You know everything. You're full of great tips about life, and now you've got some tips about things to do this weekend.
We got a few things here for the listeners out there. Let's see. We're going to start with this one. This one sounds kind of fun. This is at the UC Santa-Cruz. In the Theater Arts Department. Runs November 15th through December 8th. And what it is, it's a performance done as a radio show from the 1940s for the Jimmy Stewart from Bedford Falls.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. So instead of the movie, it's like a radio show, and you get to go in there, and they have 9 actors, and they're different jingles and different sound effects. So you could close your eyes. You could go to the theater, close your eyes if you wanted to, and it's like listening to a radio show, but they're doing it live on stage, and they're performing all the characters from the movie. They got 9 actors that are performing dozens of characters from start to finish. They got the sound effects. They're throwing in the little jingles and probably selling some soap and what have you. And it's like a live radio show for an hour and a half.
But Steve, if I close my eyes, I'm gonna fall asleep.
Yeah, then you start snoring.
Clarence!
Don't fall asleep. That sounds fun. It said, it's a very family event, right?
Yeah.
And you get to appreciate it as if you were sitting in an old audience at an old radio show back in the 40s.
Oh, that's great.
That sounds fun, yeah?
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Going on through December 8th.
Yeah, going on through December 8th. And then before Thanksgiving here, if you want to burn some calories to get ready for seconds on Thanksgiving, you can go to the Ugly Sweater Run, which is Saturday the 16th at the Marin County Fairgrounds in San-Rafel. It's a 5K run. You run through the streets and parks around there, and then every mile they've got these stations where you can get refreshments and what have you that are set up with holiday music and themed stations that the different volunteers set up. Post-run festivities include 2 free Sam Adams holiday beers and other goodies. So you get the run, and then when you're done, you relax. You get to drink some beer.
Awesome! Wow.
And they have awards for the best and worst sweaters, also the best real and fake mustaches and beards. So that sounds like a fun event. That's kind of for the whole family to kind of get into the spirit early and run, get some exercise, burn some calories, and drink some beer. It doesn't get any better than that.
Do they get to burn the ugly sweaters afterwards?
You ever been to one of those parties?
No.
We hosted one here about 2 years ago at our house, and everybody came with these just amazingly ugly sweaters. I mean, it was just like what you hear is an ugly sweater party. Everybody wore these sweaters, and people, bought them, made them, and it was great. And then we gave away prizes for the best and worst sweater. It was fun.
Oh, I want to go to one of those.
It was fun. Yeah, it's become big. It seemed like a lot of people enjoy it and do it.
Excellent idea.
We've also got at the San Mateo Event Center, we've got the Harvest Festival. This is original art and craft show. This would be for anybody that's into crafts or that liking to buy crafts, maybe to give away for Christmas gifts. They've got art, jewelry, clothing, specialty foods, home decor. And these are people. If you've never been to one of these craft shows, it's a big group of people that just love making stuff. And some stuff is kind of hokey, but some stuff is pretty amazing. And the prices that they usually sell this stuff at are kind of, you look at it and you think, you know what, I can't believe that somebody could put that much effort into creating this widget for Christmas, whatever ornament it might be, and so many times they sell this stuff for so cheap that you figure that they just do it because they love it. They love making this stuff. They love going to the craft shows and selling their stuff. But normally this stuff is never overpriced at these craft shows. Whether you're buying decorated Christmas sweaters or candles or whatever it might be. They do an amazing job at these craft shows, and it's nice to support them and go in there and buy early Christmas gifts.
And that's at the San Mateo Center. When is that?
That's the 16th and the 17th, so this Saturday and Sunday. They've also got a kids zone there, and there's a company that makes gingerbread cookies, and they're going to be setting up a big station, and the kids can come in and they can decorate and take home their own gingerbread man or gingerbread cookie. Maybe they got some gingerbread women there too, but you can decorate, and the kids can decorate it and bring home their own cookie.
Awesome. Okay, that's another great idea. I love gingerbread cookies.
And we got something kind of nice. You don't have to go to Las Vegas. This is the Cirque du Soleil. It's Amaluna. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's promoted as an escape to an island where beauty and women power are unleashed. This is at the AT&T park under the Big Top.
Interesting. Yeah, I've been seeing all the signs for that. That looks interesting.
I just was on their website, and just the costumes are just amazingly beautiful. I mean, they put so much effort into these productions, and so they're going to set the Big Top up out at AT&T Park. I imagine over in the side there where they have a lot of outdoor concerts and what have you. And it should be it's a family event. Everybody can go there, but just quite a beautiful production.
I went to one recently when I went to visit my mom in Daytona Beach. I went to one in Orlando, and that was the first one I ever been to. And they do this interesting thing where they walk, not exactly through the audience, but really close to the audience. They walk in their costumes, so you get to see the really interesting design costumes they have. And they actually will stop in front of you, and then they all kind of like pose. And then they walk in, and they kind of do this chain where each one ends up posing in front of you. And so you really get a good look at them close up. And it's interesting. You're like, oh, wow. That doesn't look very comfortable to wear. A bit tight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I looked looking on their website. The pictures, it was amazing. The makeup, the costumes, the feathers, the flora and fauna. It was pretty good looking.
Excellent. And do you have one more?
We do have one more. We have the Napa-Valley wine train. This is runs out of Napa at the Oxbow district, which is a kind of a shopping area of Napa where the train runs. And this is an old, like 1940s locomotive, and it pulls along these Pullman cars, and they have different themed dinners. So they've got one. They've actually got one running on Thanksgiving Day, where you actually have your Thanksgiving feast, and you can take friends or family, and you sit in these beautiful old Pullman cars and have Thanksgiving dinner. They've got a Santa train for the kids. They've got another one that is a murder mystery dinner theater. And they got one coming up on the 16th here, which is a Moonlight Escape. It runs from 5:50 to 9:30. It's set up in their Vista Dome rail car, so you're actually sitting up in the top of one of these rail cars with the 180-degree glass over the top of you, and you see all the stars and what have you. And it runs from Napa, I think, up to like Yountville, up through the wine country there, and it's a 5-course dinner. And looking at the pictures on the website, it's just decorated. I mean, it's beautiful tables that are set up inside this rail car, and you get to go enjoy. And then they pair the food with different, types of dinner wines, dessert wines, and you can actually looking at it a little closer. You can drive there, but they actually have a deal where you can get there by BART. You can take BART over to Concord, and then there's a luxury motor coach that will get you from there up to the train.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. And you don't even have to drive. You can just get up there and then, maybe stay the night. There's a lot of nice stuff right in the little city of Napa there. Wonderful. Sounds like a wonderful trip.
Oh, see, that's something I would love to do, and I would definitely get a room somewhere because, those wine pairing dinner things, you get so smashed. But it sounds like a lot of fun, and Napa Valley is so beautiful.
Yeah, if you got somebody that is really into trains, you can actually do a special one where you can have somebody ride in the locomotive engine with the crew. And they have a one-way trip and a round trip, and you can ride with the engineer. You get to actually sit in there and see the very front of the train, and then they set you up with a nice dinner. You can go eat in one of the Pullman cars. So for somebody that might be a history lover, train lover, that would be a really good thing to do. You buy them a little railroad engineer's cap and give them a little red scarf around their neck. My wife actually did that for me for my 50th birthday. We went down here to down in Niles Canyon, and they have an old train that runs out in the Niles Valley out there, kind of in Sunol, over to Blair, and we did that on my 50th birthday. She got me the train engineer's cap and got me a red scarf, had some friends and family come, and we had brought food and drink, and we had a great time running on that old train over there.
Oh, fantastic. Wow. Well, these are all great suggestions. The UC Santa Cruz, the radio show, 1940s reproduction of It's a Wonderful Life, the Ugly Sweater Race in San-Rafel, the San-Matteo Center Harvest Festival, and the Cirque du Soleil at AT&T Park, and the Wine Train in Napa Valley. All very cool. Oh, and Costco, they're all their cool things happening there that we're not getting any free publicity plug. They got a free plug out of me. Dang it. But Steve's suggestions. Oh, and plant a potato.
And plant a potato. So a plethora of things to do.
A cornucopia.
A cornucopia. Well said.
As we go outside of the last place on earth where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Castro-Valley, California.
And here's today's podcast picture.
And the picture is a drawing with the Disgruntled Fiddle Player.
Yeah, I don't know how I got suckered into this, but, I'm a farmer, and I till the land. That's the word I was trying to think of earlier. And I tote that barge and lift that bale.
Okay. That's great. Keep bragging about yourself. That's not annoying. Disgruntled Fiddle Player and I are discussing the wonderful activity of washing your dog. Like washing Basil the Boxer. which is what? Basil, stop that. Ouch. Ow. There goes my hand. Basil the boxer needed a bath, and I gave him one, and he smelled better. Imagine that. That's fascinating.
I love that story. You can tell that whenever you want to. Just tell it over and over again.
Stop making fun of me.
Tea partiers are great.
In your own mind. You know, we have this wonderful comic that has to do with washing your dog and the things that happen when that happens when you're washing a dog and things happen. You can see that at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Mike, I want to tell y'all that I think I want to live in San Francisco and live by myself in a little tiny hotel room in a converted hotel.
Benita, you don't mean that.
Yeah,
How am I going to live in there with y'all?
you're not.
What? You mean we are going to be separated?
No, I was just kidding.
Wow. Don't do that, Benita. Don't do that to him.
It was just a joke, y'all. April Fools.
It's not even close to April. I've been through that. It's not fun. Not the April Fool's joke, but the other thing. Tomorrow, we won't have any Mike's Daily Podcast tomorrow, I'm afraid. But we will be back next week. And what will we have, Mike Matthews? Well, I will have the return of WOW SCHATZ WOW. We'll have the return of BANDSMUTATIONS. Also get to more of FABAGOO Things to Do. Plus, we will have the 600th episode of this show. Yes, Mike's Daily Podcast. I've done 600 episodes. What other podcast can say that? Not many. That's for sure. Tell your friends about how awesome we are. And listen for that 600th episode. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a party, I hope. And that'll be next week sometime. Plus, we'll hear from Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley.
Hello, FDA. I would like to buy some flowers.
That's the FTD florist.
Oh, okay.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!